Hey there, everyone. This is Ray Higdon. Welcome to week number 9. Did you do last week's homework? Did you write out exactly what that 90-day goal was for you? You know, they say 90 days is like the perfect amount of time to really push yourself. And as far as, if it's a little bit longer, you have a drop-off of possible results. If it's shorter, you have a tougher time gauging it. So 90-day intensities, very powerful. So I hope that you took the assignment seriously. Hopefully you wrote down exactly what it is that you wanted, whether it was hit the next rank or get on the leaderboard, win a trip, whatever that is in your business, or maybe it's relationship-wise. I don't know. Maybe it's find the perfect person. Whatever that goal is, hopefully you wrote it down exactly how you wanted it, and really took the time to do that assignment and took it seriously so you get the most out of this course. So week number 9 is how to use the will. And, there's a little bit of controversial stuff in this week. And I'm gonna challenge you to be open-minded. I really hope that the people that people listening to this really get where it's coming from. And, the way that Wallace Wattles put together The Science of Getting Rich is such a powerful way. And I hope you guys really get this. And so let's move on. So how to use the will. To set about getting rich in a scientific way, you do not try to apply your willpower to anything outside of yourself. I mean, here we're already entering into a little bit of controversy here. So many people, they study, hypnosis and NLP and all these different things to manipulate, people around them. And manipulate doesn't have to be a bad word necessarily. But what Wallace's stance on this is focus on yourself. And I like that. I like what he's saying here in this week. It is wrong to apply your will to other men and women in order to get them to do what you wish done. It is as flagrantly wrong to coerce people by mental power as it is to coerce them by physical power. If compelling people by physical force to do things for you reduces them to slavery, compelling them by mental means accomplishes exactly the same thing. The only difference is in methods. If taking things from people by physical force is robbery, then taking things by mental force is robbery also. There is no difference in principle. You have no right to use your willpower upon another person even for their own good, for you do not know what is for their good. The science of getting rich does not require you to apply power or force to any other person in any way whatsoever. And, just to pause here, I think a lot of people, they look at, and we're going to talk a little bit about the, competition mindset, but I think a lot of people, they look at self-improvement people or people that want to get rich as, they have to do so off the backs and sweat and tears of others in an evil, nasty way. And that's what separates a lot of people from ever experiencing wealth is that tendency to believe that there's just something evil, something wrong with people who pursue riches or people who become rich. And so understand that there's not the slightest necessity for doing so, that is manipulating others. Indeed, any attempt to use your will upon others will only tend to defeat your purpose. Substance, the thinking substance we've been talking about all along, is friendly to you, and it is more anxious to give you what you want than you are to get it. To get rich, you need only to use your willpower upon yourself. When you know what to think and do, then you must use your will to compel yourself to think and do the right things. That is the legitimate use of the will in getting what you want. To use it in holding yourself to the right course. Use your will to keep yourself thinking and acting in a certain way. Use your mind to form a mental image of what you want and to hold that vision with faith and purpose, and use your will to keep your mind working in the right way. The more steady and continuous your faith and purpose, the more rapidly you will get rich, because you will make only positive impressions upon substance, and you will not neutralize or offset them by negative impressions. The pictures of your desires held with faith and purpose, is taken up by the formless and permeates it to great distances throughout the universe. As this impression spreads, all things are set moving toward its realization. Every living thing, every inanimate thing, and the things yet uncreated are stirred toward bringing into being that which you want. Now notice, you're not controlling these things. You just focused on what you want. You're not trying to, cast a spell on someone around you or, move something with your mind. You're focusing just on what you want. That's all you're focusing on. All force begins to be exerted in that direction. All things begin to move toward you. The minds of people everywhere are influenced toward doing the things necessary to the fulfilling of your desires, and they work for you unconsciously. But you can check all this by starting a negative impression in the formless substance. You can ruin all of it by starting off in a negative manner. Doubt or unbelief is as certain to start a movement away from you as faith and purpose are to start one toward you. It is by not understanding this that most people who try to make use of mental science in getting rich make their failure. Every hour and moment you spend in giving heed to doubts and fears, every hour you spend in worry, every hour in which your soul is possessed by unbelief, sets a current away from you in the whole domain of intelligent substance. All the promises are unto them that believe, and unto them only. Since belief is all important, it behooves you to guard your thoughts. And as your beliefs will be shaped to a very great extent by the things you observe and think about, it is important that your thoughts should command your attention. If you want to become rich, you must not make a study of poverty. Now here we get into controversial number 2. If you want to become rich, you must not make a study of poverty. Things are not brought into being by thinking about their opposites. Health is never to be attained by studying disease and thinking about disease. Righteousness is not to be promoted by studying sin and thinking about sin. And no one ever got rich by studying poverty and thinking about poverty. Don't talk about poverty. Don't investigate it or concern yourself with it. Never mind what its causes are. You have nothing to do with them. Now, at first glance, that sounds extremely calloused, sounds hard, it sounds uncool, but stick with us, stick with me here, and pay attention to what we have to say to this. So, what concerns you is not the cause of poverty. What concerns you is the cure. Get rich. That is the best way you can help the poor. Oh, that is such a powerful statement. Get rich. That is the best way you can help the poor. And you cannot hold the mental image, which is to make you rich, if you fill your mind with pictures of poverty. Do not read books or papers which give circumstantial accounts of the wretchedness of the tenement dwellers or the horrors of child labor and so on. Do not read anything which fills your mind with gloomy images of want and suffering. And so, just from that little paragraph there, why is it that so many people watch the news? Why is it that people will listen to the radio and by the time they're at work, they're actually depressed, or they're angry, or they just don't feel right? I just don't watch the news. I don't. It's too depressing. And I think I'm a pretty stout guy when it comes to, mind and wealth consciousness. But I listen to the news and I hear about the child being killed and all these, deaths by the tsunami and all these different things that I can't do anything about. And yet that I feel it affect me. That's why I don't watch the news. You cannot help the poor in the least by knowing about these things, and the widespread knowledge of them does not tend at all to do away with poverty. All right, now pay attention here. What tends to do away with poverty is not the getting of pictures of poverty into your mind, but getting pictures of wealth into the minds of the poor. Why is it that I share my story? Why do I talk about how I was in foreclosure, how I lost it all, but then was able to completely turn around my life? Because I want to speak to the person that is going through struggles and give them new pictures, give them new possibilities, give them the ability to at least think, maybe it's possible. Maybe it's possible for me to get out of where I am. Maybe it's possible. And so understand that the poor do not need charity. They need inspiration. They don't need your handout. They need to be inspired. Because every single human being, whether they have all their limbs, whether they have, beautiful skin or hair or nails, whatever, every human being has the possibility to get inspired. Inspire them. Charity, it only sends them a loaf of bread to keep them alive in their wretchedness, or gives them an entertainment to make them forget for an hour or two. But inspiration will cause them to rise out of their misery. If you want to help the poor, demonstrate to them that they can become rich, and prove it by getting rich yourself. People must be taught to become rich by creation, not by competition. Every person who becomes rich by competition throws down behind them the ladder by which they rose and keeps others down. But every person who gets rich by creation opens a way for thousands to follow them and inspires them to do so. Do you see that I'm totally speaking about network marketing there? Is that a network marketing paragraph right there? Everyone who gets rich by creation opens a way for thousands to follow them and inspires them to do so. Understand that you are not showing hardness of heart or an unfeeling disposition when you refuse to pity poverty, see poverty, read about poverty, or think or talk about it, or to listen to those who do talk about it. Use your willpower to keep your mind off the subject of poverty and to keep it fixed with faith and purpose on the vision of what you want. For today's assignment, I want you to think about what categories of people will be inspired by your success, will be inspired by you becoming filthy rich. What categories of people? And I can share with you mine. And maybe this will help you. I can speak to that person that grew up in an abused childhood. I can speak to that person who went through a tough divorce. I can speak to that person that struggled, with drug abuse. Early on in my years, I struggled with drug abuse. This was years and years ago, during high school. So that's very far past. I can speak to the person who didn't graduate high school on time. I can speak to the person that didn't finish college. I can speak to the person that had their heart broken. I can speak to the person that went through foreclosure. I can speak to the person who made a lot of money and lost it all. I can speak and inspire to all of those categories of people. What categories can you inspire that perhaps only you can inspire? And you're going to inspire them by proving that you can become rich. To your inspiration. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.